I've been a coach in hockey at a variety of different levels for about 16 years now. I've been real fortunate. And one thing I've always found to be true is that the most powerful message is the one that comes from within the locker room. Yeah. So player to player or players to players. And we're really fortunate in TPH to have the opportunity today to create that type of a vibe, that type of effect, as I welcome in University of Michigan Division I hockey player, senior Luca Fantilli. Luca, so grateful that you're taking some time out of your schedule to sit down with me here today, and more importantly, spend some time with our student athletes. So thanks very much for that. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, so I want to cover a couple different bases with you here today. Obviously, I want to make sure we spend some time talking about Movember, a great initiative that I know you're a spokesperson for and you're very passionate about. I also want to chat a little bit about you and your background, and also tie in one of the 3 character traits that we talk about with our student athletes in TPH on a daily basis. But before we dive in too deep, I just have to ask you, like at the time we're recording this, the Wolverines are 9-1. You're currently ranked number 2 in U.S. College Hockey Online's poll. For you as an individual, for you guys as a team, has it gone, at least so far, as good as your record would indicate?
Yeah, I honestly think so. I think we honestly have an unbelievable group of guys in the locker room. Like every guy, even though we're so early in the season, just feels like my brother already. We want to die for each other out there. We want to, I think it's just super fun to play with a group of guys that I think get along so well and are just like-minded in the way of wanting to win, buy into a system, and win hockey games. So yeah.
Brother, family, die for each other.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I mean, it's a lot of bonding. I think it starts with the coaches recruiting the right people, the right guys to come into this program, and there's a lot of guys that have come before us, or like before me, that have taught me the ways of being a Michigan Wolverine and what that tradition looks like and what that culture looks like. So I just learned everything from them, and I've tried to instill that as a senior with the younger guys coming in, especially the CHL guys or some of the younger guys. And I think it's a testament just to like our coaches recruiting the right guys, because everybody's so bought in. Like right after the first week, we weren't even skating yet. We were just kind of like hanging out at the house, chucking cards around, like just getting to know each other. And I think that team bonding is massive. And I mean, we're ready to go for each other any night. So yeah.
Now, Luca, you're one of the captains, but I understand you're not the coach. But from your perspective, as somebody that's in the room, what makes a Michigan guy? Like, what does it take to come into your locker room, fit in, be one of the boys, and be successful?
Yeah, I mean, like being a Michigan man is something I take a lot of pride in. I know the captains before me taking a lot of pride in that. It's honestly just our coach Brandon Arado has kind of a saying like "good dudes only." Yeah. That's something we actually we say a lot, and it's just honestly coming in like having a great attitude, being competitive, ready to learn, ready to work, and being a winner. I think like just being like so competitive that like you die to win. You know what I mean? Like you want to do everything you can to win. And then fitting in, I think it starts with our older guys coming down, but it's, like everybody's welcome on the team. You know what I mean? There's not one person that's more important than the other. We have first round picks. We have guys who are done hockey after they're done playing in Michigan. You know what I mean? Like guys who are going to have long careers in the NHL, guys that are going to go into the workforce. Like it doesn't matter who you are. You're the same person as long as you're wearing a Michigan hockey jersey, and you're all doing the same thing to win games together, and it takes everyone. So I think that's one of the really cool things that everybody knows, everyone buys into at Michigan.
You guys have certainly had a heck of a start. At the same time, I know you're only 10 games in and you're not ready to plan the parade route yet, as they say. But I got to ask you, if you look back to last season, which I know had some ups and downs, maybe it was over the summer when you were training or texting with the guys, or perhaps it was maybe early in the fall when you guys were getting ready for the start of the season. Like, was there a point where you said to yourself, this group is going to be special. This year could be special. We've got the makings of being a really good team.
Yeah, I think you saw it definitely over the summer, seeing the guys that we were getting, that we were recruiting, that were committing. Um, a lot of high end talent, a lot of deep numbers on the team. But I think we were worried, like guys coming in from the CHL, like a lot of high end talent maybe playing on lower lines, things like that. There was definitely concerns, but I think we knew after, for me at least, I would say after training camp and maybe the first 2 weekends after we played Mercyhurst and Providence, I was like, this team is legit. Like I think we're a hell of a squad. But it was cool to see because the reason I thought that, and that's a good question that you asked, because the reason I thought that we're always saying like this team feels different, because it does. Like you have guys who are high NHL draft picks playing on our third, fourth line. Like we have guys who are NHL draft picks that are scratched on our D end. Like it's a really deep squad, but nobody's complaining. Everybody's just working and wanting to get better and doing what's best for the team. Everybody knows their time will come, and they just keep buying into the process and buying into the system. And I think that's something that makes it feel a little bit different.
I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about you because your path is important and it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
You're obviously an Ontario boy. You played in the GTHL. You went and played at Kimball Union Academy in New England, went to the USHL, played for the Chicago Steel, and obviously you're currently in your fourth year at the University of Michigan. If you could go back to when you were 13, 14 years old, is this how you would have scripted it?
You know what? I think so. I think so. And obviously there's things that when you're a little kid growing up, you want to get, like I went undrafted in the NHL draft. Like as a kid, I wanted to get drafted kind of thing. Right. But there's little things that definitely I would think that I wanted to as a kid. But right now, like I dreamed of playing at the University of Michigan. Like I think I was actually about 12 years old, 13. For Christmas, my dad got me a Michigan hockey jersey with my number on it. And like, I was like, if I could ever play at Michigan, it'd be a dream come true. And here I am in my fourth year there, and it doesn't really seem real, but it's definitely the way I've liked it for sure.
You won a championship in the USHL with the Chicago Steel. Now, I've heard some people say winning is a great teacher. I've heard some people say winning is a lousy teacher because it makes you soft. What did winning the Anderson and Clark Cup do for you as an individual, as a hockey player, as a leader, if anything? I'm assuming it had some effect on you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question because, like, I've heard both sides as well. I think it kind of depends on your situation.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely an extremely positive factor on me as a player and as a person. I mean, if you look back at that team, that Chicago Steel team, I mean, like that might go down as one of the best junior teams. Like there is a lot of really good talent on that team, and I think for me it was my first year in the USHL, so it was unbelievable for me to kind of sit back and contribute, but at the same time watch these older guys and these skill guys and these players take over and just go on a run, like see what it takes to win series. Lose games in the playoffs and come back from it. You learn how to keep each other up in late parts of the season, you learn how to win basically, and you learn how to, be a team and go on a deep playoff run. For me, that was definitely a massive, massive piece. And then again, I just mentioned like watching those players. Like we had like Sean Farrell, like Josh Doan, Mackie Semiskevich, like Matt Coronado. Like we had like Ryan Uphill. Like we had guys who were elite hockey players. And I just tried to do my best and just kind of sit back and watch them do their thing and try and replicate it as much as I can.
So pretty good preparation for what you're experiencing right now is at Michigan, because you talked about the environment at Michigan, lots and lots of good players making sacrifices for the team. That Chicago Steel team in 21-22 was not too shabby. Listening to you speak, I hear a lot of parallels.
Right.
I'm assuming that's safe to say?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think Michigan's the same thing as Chicago in a sense of when I was there. It's a very, very big winning culture. You're expected to go deep. You're expected to win. Those things are, expected of you.
Right.
And you learn from past experiences. For me, the Clark Cup run, maybe going to the Big Ten, a couple Frozen Fours that I've gone to over the years, just kind of getting that experience and seeing what it takes, especially in college, being like a lot of single elimination games. It's not a series, so anyone can beat anyone on any given night. And if you don't have your A game one night, then your season's done, kind of thing. So a lot of stepping stools, a lot of learning, but trying to instill that in our team early on this year.
Luca, when you look back on your journey to date, and I know you're very much still at the front end, was there a turning point for you? Was there a moment or a milestone that you can point to that makes you say, wow, it was at that moment I knew I could really make something out of this?
Yeah. I think for me, it was, it's actually a pretty funny story. Obviously growing up in Ontario, especially at my age when the OHL and college rule wasn't really a thing. Growing up, your biggest kind of goal was like to be drafted into the OHL. That was like the biggest thing, like the biggest deal. And I remember after my draft year, I think I sat through maybe the entire draft with my dad and my brother, and I went undrafted. And remember, I came back that next year and ended up being I had a pretty good year, and I ended up being picked in the first round by Niagara the following year. And I was like, okay, like that's a cool feeling. I think this is something I could do. Like just getting that confidence in myself that I could accomplish stuff like that. And then obviously going to Kimball Union, committing to Michigan. As soon as I committed to Michigan, I was like, wow, I might actually do something with this. So I think that there's definitely little things, but I'd say those are the biggest ones. Yeah.
Well, it's very clear to me in the short time we've been chatting here today that you're passionate about Michigan hockey. You're passionate about your journey. I know you're also very passionate about Movember, an initiative and a cause that we're celebrating currently in TPH. Now, if I look across TPH, the hundreds of student athletes that we have, I know we have a percentage of student athletes that know what Movember is. They understand its meaning. But I'm also fairly confident in saying that there's a percentage of student athletes that hear Movember and just think mustaches.
Yeah.
From your standpoint, Luca, in your words, because you're kind of like one of our student athletes, a bit older, what is Movember? And why should our student athletes, why should they care? Why should they be interested?
Yeah, that's an unbelievable question. Like basically what Movember is, I thought the same thing. Obviously growing up, being in the position that the TPH students are in right now, I thought I was just growing out the mustache and it looks cool kind of thing, right? And that's a really cool part of it. That's a part that kind of unites it as a kind of like a community and a brotherhood. And but what Movember is it's basically it's a nonprofit organization, so it's a charity that focuses mainly on men's mental health, men's prostate and testicular cancer, and basically try and raise money and create funds for men to live long, happier, healthier lives. That's basically the main cause of it. I know mental health is such a massive, massive part of the game. Like I didn't realize it until I saw some of my best friends struggle with that pretty severely, to the point where there's a stat. I think every 60 seconds we lose a man to suicide every day.
Yeah.
It's truly extremely sad.
Yeah.
And obviously it's tough to like when I was at like the age of the TPH kids, it's hard to understand why it really matters. But it truly matters so much, and you don't realize it until you get a little bit older. But it has an effect on you, especially within the game. Hockey's a very, very tough sport, mentally, physically. You need to make sure your mental health is okay. You need to be checking in on your teammates. You need to be close with your teammates.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I'm just trying to use what I have on social media and my platform to kind of express that.
What made you want to get involved with this initiative? What, if you're comfortable sharing, has made you so passionate about it at a relatively young age?
Yeah. I saw Austin Matthews, who's obviously one of my favorite teams, growing up as Toronto, because I'm from there, and he's an unbelievable player. And I saw how passionate he was about the Movember cause and how he has the mustache at all times and stuff like that. And that kind of grabbed my interest. But as I did more research on it, I started to dive deeper into what Movember is and what it actually does. And I found that I related a lot to it. I've had some friends that have battled pretty hard with some mental health situations, and it's really sad. And it can result in things such as suicide and things like that. And that is probably one of the most serious things I could think about. So for me, it was trying to do my part, and even though it's such a small part in it, trying to contribute in any way I can to help out. You know what I mean? And I know for the young kids at TPH, a lot of those kids are going to be in my position one day. They're going to be playing. They're going to have high profiles. They're going to be, unbelievable athletes, unbelievable people. So if I can, instill that in them early to ask for help, check in on your teammates, check in on your loved ones, check in on yourself, make sure you're doing okay, and help other people as much as you can. I want to, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say it, their coach can say it, mom and dad can say it, but the reality is you are a Division I student athlete. So I think hearing this from you is going to mean a lot to our TPH student athletes across the globe. What advice would you have? What direction would you have for a student athlete that's struggling with mental health? What, if we have just one watching this here today, I'd love you to give you the opportunity to talk directly to that person. What advice would you give him or her?
Oh, I mean, it's way more common than you think. You know what I mean? Like everybody's going through something. You're never ever alone. Like I like that's probably my biggest thing is you feel like you're alone. Like I've been there. I've struggled with mental health stuff like in the season. Things like that. Maybe it's something more serious. But you're never alone, and never be embarrassed or shy to ask for help. That is my biggest thing. I got a sports psychologist. Her name's Beth McCharles out of Toronto. She's been talking to me since I was about 14 years old. and I've do weekly calls with her just to check in on how I'm doing, keep me going throughout the year. Like, it is so important, and one of my biggest things is checking in on my teammates, making sure they're doing okay. Obviously, it's not, comfortable, but you say,
Yeah.
hey man, like, how you doing? Like, you're my brother, you're one of my best friends. Like, I want to make sure you're doing okay. Like, just things like that go way farther than you think, especially
Right.
when someone's going through something and somebody asks them. It shows that someone cares. But if I'm a boy or a girl going through a rough time right now, I'm asking for help. I'm going to my parents. I'm going to my loved ones. I'm going to my coach. I'm going to my teammates. I'm telling them that I'm not okay and that I need help. And there's no shame in that, like, at all. Absolutely not. And I want them to be proud to do it. So.
And the initiative has really become something special. Like, just hockey alone, the National Hockey League celebrates it and acknowledges it. The American Hockey League, the ECHL, there's, of course, the Mustache Cup. This has become a pretty big initiative, has it not?
Yeah, it's honestly, like, really cool to see. I think over time, mental health has progressed a lot, and it's cool to see, the hockey community, which is such a big and tight knit community, come together to kind of fight against it, which is, I think it's pretty special.
Luca, a few times here today, I've heard you use the term check on your teammates.
Yeah.
And as you know, because we talked off camera about this, one of the three character traits that we strive to emphasize regularly in our academies is acceptance. And we define it as, simply put, treating others in a way that makes them feel welcome members of the team. Accepting others, even going so far as respecting them, checking in on your teammates. Can you understand why an environment wouldn't be that way? Like, it seems to me like if you want to do anything great individually or collectively, that's the type of environment you need to have. Yet, I know we have some student athletes watching this today. Their locker room's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't it be?
I mean, I've been in rooms like that as well.
Okay.
And, it's probably some of the most unsuccessful seasons I've had. You know what I mean? Like, as a team, and it shows. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's very hard to think like bullying is not okay.
Right.
Like, it is not accepting your teammates is not okay. Like, every person, like, to me, the way I look at it is every person that puts on the same jersey as you, no matter what they are, no matter what, anything, they are your equal. You are together, you're teammates, and you will do anything for each other. That's just the way I look at it. But it's pretty sad, to hear that, kids are going through that. It's tough.
Yeah, because I think that one of the contributors to poor mental health is the feeling that I can't open up. I'm not going to be embraced. I'm not going to be welcomed in. You mentioned that you've been in some situations, as have I, where it's been like that and it hasn't been successful. Can you share with me a little bit more about what those environments were like and the effect that it had on maybe you or your teammates? So I guess I'm kind of asking you the opposite of the Michigan dressing room.
Yeah.
What were some of the characteristics?
I think it's obviously bullying is one. Thinking you're higher up than someone. I think thinking you're cooler than someone.
Yeah.
Like, because you're playing more, you have more goals, or something like that. Like, I think it's just like bad kids. Like in a way where it's, I've been on the bad side, like you said, and the team has done horrible because no one wants to battle for each other. Like, no one wants to, go to war for each other. You want to get out of the rink as soon as you can. Like, And Michigan, I don't ever want to leave the rink. Like, I don't ever want to leave the guys I'm in the dressing room with. Like I feel like I can say anything or do anything with any of my teammates. Like we are so tight knit that that you want to just jump in front of a puck for one another.
Right.
And I think that's how big of an impact that has
Yeah.
on a team and a culture. And when you have someone that feels that they're above the team or above players on the team, I think that's when a season will start to crumble.
When that negative, bad stuff is going on, sure, ideal situation, the coach steps in, a teacher intervenes, the adult in the room is the leader.
Right.
But there are instances where we as coaches can't be there all the time.
Yes.
And we don't see everything. It's okay for one of the guys or girls on the team to step up too and say, this isn't right, this needs to stop, you're out of line. That's okay to still do, right?
I mean, we do it. Like I mean, like if there's a problem on the team, it gets handled like that. Like it is so quick, it is so fast, and the boys are back to loving each other and hugging each other after. Like it's completely and utterly okay to stand up to that and say, hey, that's not okay. Like, and you have no idea what that does for the person that's being attacked or is maybe in a negative spot there, because it shows that your teammates are standing up for you. And you shouldn't be embarrassed too, because if people don't accept you standing up for the right thing, then they're not the people you want to surround yourself with. Yeah. And like for me, when I have like teammates standing up for each other in our own room, I know they're going to stand up for me when I'm on the ice with them. So it's definitely special in that way, and you should never be scared to do it.
Yeah, very well said. And I'm just a big believer that if you've set individual goals for yourself that are anything good, how in the heck does one player in a team sport not feeling a part of it help you reach your goals? I mean, it certainly doesn't help the team, but it doesn't do anything for you as an individual. So if you remove the emotion, you look at it from just that standpoint, anti-accepting behaviors make even more no sense to me.
100%.
Just none whatsoever. It's not good for anyone involved.
No, nothing good comes out of that.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes out of that, and I think it affects people way more than you think. Like kids that are scared to stand up to maybe a kid who's bigger than them, or ask for help. Like they're going through that alone, and it's affecting them more than you actually think. And that's your teammate. That's the guy you're putting on the same jersey as. And to me, it's just you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the team, and you're hurting that player a lot. So.
Okay, last question. For the record, I could talk to you for like 2 straight hours. I wouldn't want to put you through that pain.
No, I love it. I love it.
We have 10 to 18-year-old student athletes in our academies. I think I've captured the age range, predominantly middle school and high school, as you know.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s, you're not in your 40s, but you're a little bit ahead of where they are, and you've seen some stuff in the game and in life.
Yeah.
Put yourself in a TPH Academy classroom, let's say you're 16. Knowing what you know now, seeing what you've seen now, what would you tell your younger self? It's a fancy-dancy way of saying, what advice would you have for a TPH Academy student athlete watching this today?
Yeah, I mean, that's an unbelievable question, and I think I could talk, for hours about the advice I could give them. Obviously, I still have a lot more to learn, but I think actually one of my teammates, Josh Doan, said it in an interview recently, that his dad was teaching him. It's be a better person than a player. I think that goes a long way, or be just as good of a person as you are a player. I think I might be messing up the quote, something like that. But it really stuck with me. Hockey's tough. It's a cutthroat business, and you'll find out sooner or later that it turns more and more into a business as you get older. Come to the rink with an unbelievable attitude. Come to the rink with a smile on your face every day. Enjoy that you're playing hockey. Like there's way more people in the world going through way harder things than you, and you're upset because you're going to the rink and you gotta get dressed and go on the ice like that. Like what a gift that is. And I think put your head down, work hard, look out for yourself, but be an unbelievable teammate, an unbelievable person at the same time. I think that goes a long, long way in the character that you build for yourself and the player that you're going to be. So yeah, I'd say be the best player you could be, but also be an unbelievable person. That'd be my biggest thing.
Very well said. Well, listen, Luca, Movember is awesome. You're awesome. This was awesome. Thank you for doing this for our student athletes. I really appreciate you taking some time. I think there's probably some applauses at the other end of this right now from them. This was great. Thank you genuinely from all of us in TPH for doing this.
No, I appreciate you guys just listening to what I have to say, and I'm extremely grateful to be here. So thank you so much.